How would you describe the general expectations for men and for women when you were growing up?
Pretty pathetic. It was, when I was growing up, if you were a woman, you were sort of supposed to know your own place, and you were, if you went to college, if you didn't find a husband by the time you graduated, people sort of wondered what was wrong with that handsome girl. She's senior at South Dakota and she's not engaged. It was sort of like you'd go to college to meet a husband, I think. And not everyone, but many women did that, and that was what was the norm. When you did graduate, as I did from South Dakota in journalism, when you went to take on a job, my first job was at Aberdeen American News. That summer they hired 3 new reporters. One was from the University of Missouri, Eddie Tollefson, and he thought he was hot stuff because he came from Missouri, and the other was Bob something, who had graduated from South Dakota State, and me from Vermilion, the university. So the managing editor went to put out the assignments, and he gave Eddie the police beat, which was pretty good, and he gave the guy from South Dakota State the area beat. You know, he'd travel and visit farms, agriculture, and he was good at that. And guess what he gave me? I could be assistant to an old lady named Florence Delaney, who was the society editor. I could be the assistant. And I just sat there seething. And as soon as he was through with us, I went into his office and I said, I didn't go to college 4 years to be an assistant to Edith Delaney. She's had no formal education. And he said, yeah, I know. He said, I'll see that you get better assignments. And he was good. He understood. But he said, but when she's on vacation, you are going to have to take her place. And I said, well, you know, that I could see, but I couldn't see just being her assistant after working all that time at South Dakota. So Leif Johnson, the managing editor, has had me doing features, which I love to do. And he liked my features, and the publisher did, so they pretty much put me on that type of story, although I had the hospital beat and the school board. And, you know, I liked that all right, but it was pretty clear that if you were a woman, you were not ever to have designs on being managing editor or anything like that. You could just have some minor job. Women have come so far in the newsroom since I came out of the University of South Dakota that it's almost unbelievable. I used to be amazed at women who got a halfway decent job. Now, women are leaders as well, you know, as you well know, it's all the same.
What year was it that you started working in Aberdeen?
1948.
So we were talking before the break about how you went viral. How do you feel about that being your legacy that many people are going to remember you for after this long career you have in journalism? This one moment is forever going to be tied with your name. How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I never have known how I feel. I just have never been able to figure it out. I guess what will be, will be. I would never have won the USA Today Al Newharth Award unless that happened. I've had so much notoriety, much of it negative, but also with it has come a lot of positive response that I never in my life expected to receive. I've always wanted to do well and to succeed. I've never figured I was a great national hero or anything like that. I'm a person who is a newspaper woman, and I want to be remembered as good at what I do. So this puts me in kind of a zany position. That's okay too. I go with the flow. Whatever happens is whatever happens. I don't really worry about things.
Did you have any difficult moments in your career?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that I did have difficult moments. As I have said, when I graduated from South Dakota, I expected to have a very good, respectable journalism job, and I was offered the low man on the totem pole when three reporters were hired at the same time in Aberdeen. I've had disappointments when I've had people criticize me, but that is so small in comparison with all the kindness I've had. I feel like I've had more kindness, more good backfeed than I even deserve. So I can't really complain about how I was treated. Maybe if I had graduated 10, 20 years later, maybe I would have expected to be one of the main editors of a newspaper. I would have expected more. But when I graduated from college, I was not in that mindset because women did not have very much, there weren't very many women who were leading the way in journalism at that time as there are today. There was one woman in the White House, Thomas, of the United Press, and she was kind of one of the people that I would look up to because of her accomplishment. But there were not that many women leading the way.